How do you do, fellow trainers? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about draft on the channel. Again, we're back. We're back with Draft League. I'm excited to get it on the channel, and I've got a very special one for you. It is a very unique draft that I'm so happy to be a part of. It's what they call an all-star draft. Now, the idea behind this is using only one Pokemon from each generation. And the way this works is we start off our team building process by picking 4 Generation 1 Pokemon. And week 1 we play in Gen 1 OU format. And then in week 2 we would add the next generation of Pokemon, the one we drafted, the Gen 2 Mon, and it would be our 5th Pokemon. So we'd go from 4 Pokemon in Gen 1 to now our 5 Pokemon in Gen 2, our 6th in Gen 3, 4, we get to customize the 6 we bring, and so on and so forth. And it's an 8-week season, but because there's 9 gens, the first week of playoffs, you're allowed to get a Paldea Pokemon, one from Scarlet and Violet. It is a very interesting idea on the draft concept, and it goes against the grain of how a draft really works. You want to get the best Pokemon picked first, and then you have to curb your points because you spend so many points on expensive Pokemon that you just get lesser and lesser valued Pokemon. In this, you don't want to blow your load too much on the beginning, the middle, or most importantly, the end, because you're going to need to rely on your beginning and middle Pokemon to get you even close to playoffs, even if you get even that close, where 7 and 8 doesn't matter as much as weeks 1 through 4. So, and you'll get more grasping of what I'm trying to say as we go along. Yeah, so like I said, it was a total of 12 Pokemon, a full draft. You couldn't get any less than that. So we had to have 4 Gen 1 Mons and then 1 for each Gen from 2 to 9. You do not have to draft them in that order. You could draft them in any order you'd like, but at the end of the draft, you had to have 4 Pokemon from Gen 1 and 1 from each Gen. I set up this team preview to show you how I drafted in that order. We're not going to go just by my Gen 1, then 2, then 3. I want to show you where my head was at with drafting. So let's go ahead and start with my number 1 pick, and that was Dragonite. Dragonite is a great Pokemon to start us off. It's been OU, well, UU technically, but was used in OU in both Gen 1 and 2. It has been good since it came out. It is great in Gen 9. It is a fantastic Pokemon, and it's got even its stats are so good. Base 134 attack is also good, but let's not forget that we can make this thing very bulky if we need to. It can play the offensive role, obviously, for our first couple gens, but as we get longer and we get, power creep comes into effect, we get bigger and better Pokemon, so to speak. We can then relegate Dragonite to a defensive role. Our first week in Gen 1 is going to be, it's going to be not fun for our opponent, because I don't know if I want to talk about it this week, but if you know, you know, Dragonite has a very annoying set in Gen 1, and I'll talk about it in my Gen 1 preview, my week 1 preview for the battle. I'll talk about the strategy there, but I'm just saying Dragonite has got a demonic scent for Gen 1. But as we keep going along, we've got Extreme Speed for priority. We've got Roost for recovery. We've got a great move pool. Dragonite can run anything from Blizzard to Thunder Punch. It's got to Earthquake to Hurricane. It's got a great move pool. And yeah, I just wanted something really strong, really stable for the whole, the entirety of the league. I do think that Dragonite will probably be brought almost every week, and if not, it would have to be a huge consideration. But, okay, let's go on to the next one. Next up, we have Metagross. Now, my Generation 3 pick was Metagross. I went straight to Gen 3 and then Gen 4 because I feel like this type of structure where we go longer into the season, we are going to be using the older Pokemon more and more. So you want to pick Pokemon that are good longevity-wise, because with power creep and other things, usually the older gen Pokemon just kind of deteriorate and drop. I mean, Infernape was OU when it came out. It's now NU. I mean, these are just examples. But yeah, let's get into why Metagross is great. So it covers the defenses that Dragonite suffers with, and Dragonite covers the weaknesses that Metagross suffers with. So, like, Dragonite is quad weak to ice. Metagross resists that. Metagross is weak to ground attacks. Dragonite is immune. Let's talk about the two mechanics that Metagross can abuse before Generation 5. So before Generation 5, or before Generation 6, Steel types resisted Dark and Ghost. So Metagross is currently weak to Ghost and Dark because Steel doesn't resist it. But for the first couple of rounds, so up until week 5, week 6, we will not have to worry about Dark and Ghost hitting Metagross and our Gen 2 pick, which will come up. It was the last pick of the draft. So it's awesome. It's awesome that it's neutral to us, because early on, Ghost and Dark didn't really get its footing until around Gen 4, Gen 5. But with the way I had to draft, I couldn't get all the resistances I needed up front. So, like, my best resistances for the types that were weak to, like the ground weakness and stuff, had to come later. It's just how it is. You have to prioritize what you really want, because you can't get everything. It's really not, you can't get everything. You have to get the most important things to you, for your team, and enough power so you keep adding stronger and stronger Pokemon to your team, so your team gets better and better. So anyway, Metagross, yeah, great typing. Covers the resistances. The other mechanic, just like the Steel type of being resistant to Dark and Ghost up until Gen 6, it also has a different mechanic on Explosion. Explosion is a move that when it faints your own Pokemon, but it does 250 base power to your opponent's Pokemon. Well, in Gen 1 through 5, it cut the defense of the Pokemon it's attacking. So it would basically do double damage. So, that's also awesome. If I just need a delete button, Metagross is there. But also, let's look at its stats. Metagross is great with 135 base attack, 130 defense, so it can play multiple roles, just like I said with Dragonite. It's great. Then, went on, again with my philosophy, get some heavy hitters early. So, went on to Infernape, my favorite Pokemon. And, I might be a little bit biased on why I picked it, but I think it also fits synergy-wise. It takes the ice moves Dragonite is weak to, even though it's frail. Infernape also resists the dark moves that eventually Metagross will be weak to, even though it's frail. It's also a great mixed attacker, which is one of the few that actually was built to be a mixed attacker. Base 104, and either stat. It's got great moves on both sides. Overheat, Close Combat, Flamethrower, Earthquake. Its speed 108 is really good too. It works really well with any choiced item. The Scarf, the Band, the Specs. It can even work with Life Orb. Iron Fist boosts our punching moves like our Mach Punch. While I've got that brought up, I want to bring up that each Pokemon I drafted so far has a priority move. E-Speed, Bullet Punch, Mach Punch. The reason I did this, if you look at the Dragonite's speed stat, Metagross is at minus Infernape, who will be our fastest mon for the early season of this draft. We need more speed, so I invested in priority because I knew I'd have to get my speed later. Because most of the good Pokemon aren't always the fastest. Like Jolteon is fast, and it's good, but it's not good compared to Metagross and Infernape. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't just pick the speed tier I want and hope it, because you only get one Pokemon per generation, so you have to be very picky. But anyway, Infernape also has a great move pool. It sets up Stealth Rocks. I think it's fantastic to pair with Metagross and Dragonite. Yeah, so I'm just happy to use my favorite Pokemon in this draft. Next up, I tried to fill out my Gen 1 slots, and I spent a good amount on Dragonite. So I wanted to go for a little cheaper Pokemon that was good early gen. And the reason I say that is because once we get to Gen 4, we'll have 7 Pokemon, so we can choose to cut one off the roster. So I wanted something that stayed good until we can get to our better picks and replace it. Electro kind of fits that bill. Its amazing speed stat is why I want it. It's early on the fastest. It's the fastest Pokemon until Ninjask comes out in Generation 3. It also has access to the explosion, the broken explosion, that just cuts the defense in half and goes away. Later on, when we get out of Gen 1, and I think in Gen 2 it starts working. Reflect actually in Gen 1 worked more like a double defense. It didn't like last for 5 turns and cut physical attacks in half. It just worked very differently, and Light Screen didn't. I don't think it was in Gen 2, and if it was, I mean Gen 1. If it wasn't in Gen 1, I don't remember what it did. But anyway, once Reflect and Light Screen become available, base 150 speed Light Screens and Reflects are going to be great. Now, I will mention that before, I think it was also Gen 5 when they changed everything, Electrode and Dugtrio actually gained 10 extra speed. Dugtrio's case, it went from 110 to 120. And Electrode's, it went to 140 to 150. Electrode is not a great Pokemon later on. It deteriorates fast. But going up first, for the first couple gens, it's broken with Explosion, Thunder Wave, and Speed equals crits in Gen 1. So a Thunderbolt from a base 140 speed Electrode has a chance to just make my opponent have a very bad time. But yeah. And also, I love Draft because it brings out the undesirable Pokemon like Electrode and gives them a chance to shine. Next up, my next Gen 1 pick, so this will be our third one, Hitmonlee. Now, Hitmonlee was actually kind of pricey, just not really pricey. It was like in the middle. It was more above average. Now, I have an Infernape, right? Why did I want a Hitmonlee? Well, early on, I needed a spinner. I also needed something that got a little better as it went on. And Hitmonlee kind of hit that middle road for me. It has Rapid Spin. And Stealth Spikes are already introduced in Gen 2. So I did want a Rapid Spinner from the get. So Hitmonlee was actually, that's probably the main thing that brought me to him. But then again, you know, when he gets Unburdened later on, and we have more moves he gets, like Close Combat, Blaze Kick. He's a good utilizing attack power, attacking Pokemon. Then we also look at, for some of the reason, the Hitmons have a special defense, like niche. I think Hitmon Top has the biggest special defense, like 120 or something. And then Hitmonchan has lower than 110, but this is also a dark, like I said, you'll see in my last couple Pokemon why I need these dark resists. And Hitmonlee is one with a not bad special defense of 110. But yeah, High Jump Kick early on doesn't actually cause us a lot of damage. If we miss, it's like 1 to 11%. Problem is, though, it's cut its power in half. But anyway, Hitmonlee is also one of those undesirable Pokemon I want to give a shot. And because we're going through early, Hitmonlee is just good against normal types. I mean, duh, but it's pretty strong, especially if my opponent, like, drafts like Snorlax, which is very common for Gen 1 and 2. It stays good for a little while. I don't know if anyone's crazy enough to do it, but they can draft Slacking, and Hitmonlee's an answer. I don't know, I just like Hitmonlee. Like I said, early spinner, good fighting type. Fighting type is notoriously bad in Gen 1, but I'm thinking longevity-wise, and I don't know. I think Hitmonlee's going to be good. It's another Glass Cannon Pokemon, but I'm willing to take a risk on him. Anyway, next up was my Gen 5 pick. So, you see Electrode, Metagross, Infernape, all weak to ground. Needed a ground. Dragonite's not enough, so another ground immunity in Mandibuzz. Then you see Metagross, and you also see, I'll go ahead and show you, Iron Boulder, which is my Paldea pick, which is Psychic, and then my Gen 2 Pokemon was Celebi, another Dark Ghost weakness. So with that all being said, Mandibuzz is a dark resistance, a ground resistance, a defogger, a really annoying Pokemon to try to get rid of. It's got Roost, it's got Toxic, it's got Foul Play, just sits there and you can't get rid of it. Mandibuzz was a great defensive option. I had to get my defensive options in the later gens, even though everybody was picking things like Hydreigon and Landorus and Excadrill. But I spent all my points here getting my offensive threats, Dragonite, Metagross, Infernape, and then the required 4 Mons, I worked on those, and then I started working on my defenses. So Mandibuzz is definitely what we needed. It's going to be a great defensive Pokemon, especially when we get 2, the gen that came out in, and Gen 6 is pretty good, even though fairy types come out. Yeah, I like Mandibuzz. I've used it quite a bit. It's a good pivoting Pokemon as well. Run a Rocky Helmet on it. It's just decent. I think Mandibuzz covers a lot of the weaknesses we have on the team. Next, I picked my, and I'm missing a pick here, but I'll show it in just a second. Next, I picked my last Gen 1 mon, is Kangaskhan. Now, Kangaskhan, we can't Mega Evolve in this league, which, you know, sucks, but it makes a lot of sense. If we can Mega Evolve, I think that would throw too much. The prices for the Pokemon will be way, it would throw everything off. Because they don't want to be good after Gen 6 and over. But anyway, Kangaskhan is not the most impressive Pokemon, but in Gen 1, with Earthquake and Body Slam, I think it's going to hold its own. And I did some research. It does stay UU for quite a long time. And it gets scrappy, which is its best feature for me. It's a ghost immunity for me, so we handle the ghost side as well as the dark side with Mandibuzz resisting it, but it also has knockoff and power up punch. All the elemental attacks. I honestly think I can use Kangaskhan as more of a defensive Pokemon because, like we see earlier, I mean offensive, 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 offensive. Like, they're all offensive Pokemon, but we can make Kangaskhan the bulky one on top of Metagross being bulky or Dragonite in defensive role and just run it with Infernape or Hitmonlee. So we're just going to have to rely on some different role compression from each Pokemon. Like I said, this is my first time doing this, and I'm not even sure if I did it right, but I feel good about the team. I really do. Next up, we have, which, this is not true, my last pick before this was Volcanion. Volcanion is the only fire water type, and it comes out in the generation what fairies does, so it gives me a nice fairy resist. It gives me a water immunity as well, and another ice resist, a double ice resist, because you'll see Dragonite weak to ice, Celebi weak to ice, Mandibuzz weak to ice. So Volcanion really rounded out my defensive tools, so Mandibuzz and Volcanion, and then Celebi I consider defensive. But it's also got great coverage moves. Its stats, I mean, I think it's a legendary, not a mythical. But 130 special attack, 120 defense, 110. It's just really good, really good. Steam Eruption is a great option. Scald, I love Volcanion personally, so I'm glad I got to get it. And it was a little pricey, but I only get it for 3 weeks. Week 6, week 7, week 8. If we make playoffs, it's on the team. But you know, this is the type of things you have to think about. Oh, Volcanion's so good. Yeah, for those 3 weeks. And don't forget, everybody else is drafting monsters and monsters and monsters, and I'm having to go more defensive. So I've got to, see, you got to think about your old Pokemon. Metagross and Dragonite are great examples. They stay good forever, but Infinite kind of falls off, unfortunately. And they're just getting stronger and stronger Pokemon if they chose to get their attackers later in the game. So you've really got to balance so many. You got to balance so many plates, like spinning. As it's so cool and so, I guess the word would be risky. It's very risky, this draft. But anyway, yeah, Volcanion's great. Synergizes well with Mandibuzz. Next up, I went and grabbed a good tier Paldea Pokemon because I do believe, you know, the point is to actually get the playoffs. So if I get the playoffs, I want a payoff. And Iron Boulder is great. I think I can go ahead and show you where my speeds are right now. Like, my fastest Pokemon is Electrode when it gets to base 150, 108 on Infernape, and then Celebi is base 100. Other than that, that means until we get to Generation 8, I'm not going to have a faster Pokemon than Infernape or Electrode, and Electrode gets less good as we go on. So Iron Boulder has that nice speed tier of base 124. It's really good. It hits hard, and if we get to playoffs, it could be an alternate sweeper, so we can make Dragonite more defensive. I think once we get more offensive pieces, we can bring more offensive Pokemon in a defensive role, so it's more like hyper offense, but we're not sitting ducks out there with glass cannons like Infernape. Or our next pick, Inteleon. I chose Inteleon also for, well, 2 reasons. One, it's another good speed tier, 120, so we'd have a 124, 120, and 108 and on high end 150. But also in Gen 8 specifically, which is the last game of the regular season, Inteleon gets focus energy back. It lost it in Gen 9, which is awesome. It gets to keep it, and I think we're playing Nat decks to accommodate for some of the mons we're using through the gens. So I'm pretty sure that it will get focus energy for Gen 9 too, so we can copy it with Sniper, the Scope Lens, focus energy, Snipe Shot. We can just start critting and critting and critting and critting. And it was only 2 points, but Inteleon, like I said, because it only is used for, well, if you don't make playoffs, that one game. But I have hopes for this. It also fixed my speed tier. And I'm really happy about Inteleon too. Inteleon and Iron Boulder are going to finish out speed tiers, but I really do think they're not just throwaway picks. They're going to do something. Speaking of throwaway picks, Toucannon is here. I like Beak Blast. Fruit Loops are good. I mean, yeah, I needed a Gen 7 Mon, and I spent so many points on so many other things. So, Toucannon's here. I hope to bring it, if it comes up. But it is an extra defogger, if nothing else. Yeah, I have nothing more to say. I mean, it's got Skill Link and Sheer Force, great abilities. Just not great. That 120's fine. Yeah, I'm not going to spend too much time on it. Toucannon might have been the throwaway pick, but they can't all be winners when this type of draft comes up. Alright, and now to finish I probably should have put Celebi earlier, but anyway. It was my final pick because it was quite a amount of points, and I wasn't sure if I was going to do that, call an audible and change up my 9, 8, 7, and my 2 pick. But I ended up picking up Celebi, and I'm happy about it because it works really well. Let's move it back over here into the early so you can see what we'll have early. Like Celebi, Dragonite, Metagross, Infernape. Like, come on. Come on. That's so strong. It's a good Stealth Rocker. It's base 100 around the board. You can build it any way you want. It's really a good draft Pokemon. You can go Leech Seed, Healing, Sub, Protect. You can go Specs, Leaf Storm, Future Sight, Stealth Rock. Like I said, Stealth Rocks. World's your oyster with a mythical Pokemon. I love Celebi, and I was mad it wasn't in the game this in Scarlet and Violet. So yeah, I pretty much think that's it. So yeah, for the first week we'll have Dragonite, Electrode, Hitmonlee, and Kangaskhan. Then week 2 we had Celebi. Week 3, we had Metagross, and then after that, we had Infernape, and we can start customizing our team. I hope you understand what's going on here, and I hope I gave you a little bit of insight into why I drafted these, what I drafted for. I know I'm speaking in hypotheticals because I don't know how this is going to work, to be honest. If they were all available to me at the same time, I'd be able to tell you what synergies, what strategies that combine well, but until I get in here, I won't really know. So, I hope y'all guys like this idea, because I love it. And if they do it again, I'm definitely doing it again. But yeah, that's going to be it for the draft breakdown. This is for the JJAL Scyther division, so I'll probably call it the Scyther League for the channel. Yeah, guys, I'm going to get this breakdown out to y'all. And then I'm going to, should be uploading week 1 very soon. So, make sure you like the video and subscribe so you know when I put out these videos. Yeah, guys, I'm ready for a great new season, and I'm ready to win. I think this team is very capable. I'm actually happy to, this is so fun to play with. It's a fun looking team. Alright, guys, I hope y'all enjoyed, and I hope y'all stay with me for the rest of the season. So I'm gonna get up out of here. I'm gonna catch y'all later. Y'all have a blessed day.